With the announcement of Season 2, One Punch Man is back in the news cycle, and that means that the time is ripe for me to make another video about it and rake in those sweet, sweet YouTube fun bucks. I've already covered the series' excellent OP, but there are a ton of excellent scenes to choose from that are ripe for analysis. But how do I decide which one to cover? Oh, I know! I'll ask my favorite online One Punch Man community, One Punch Man Amino! In case you didn't know, Amino is a family of online community apps designed for mobile devices. It combines some of the best elements of Reddit, Tumblr, and 4chan into one slick package with hands down the best touch-targeted user interface design of any online community I have ever used. They didn't pay me to say that part, I just think it. I'm really impressed with how elegant these apps look. You can interact with the Amino community in a ton of different ways, from posting gorgeous fan art to detailed blogs about cool fan theories. To get help with this video, I posed a question. What's the single best scene in One Punch Man? I got responses pretty quickly, and the one that stood out the most to me was the encounter with the Sea King, specifically from the point Mumen Rider shows up to the aftermath of Saitama punching the big green jerk. As I said in the comments of my post, I think this scene hits hard at the emotional core of One Punch Man's concept, and highlights exactly what makes this show work in spite of its unconventional premise. Essentially, every fight in One Punch Man boils down to other heroes biding time until Saitama can run in and properly save the day with his iconic punch. This isn't all that different from how other series handle OP heroes like Goku and Superman, but what makes One Punch Man a little more engaging is that nobody knows that's what they're doing. There's always this divide between what the audience knows or wants to happen and what the characters think. And that dramatic irony is a source of a lot of comedy, but it also allows the show to have genuine dramatic stakes. Because while we know that everything will be fine as soon as Saitama shows up, none of the other heroes do. They're all under the impression that they're the last line of defense between civilians and the monster of the week, and thus they give every fight their all, with the conviction that it could be their last. Only Genos is aware of Saitama's true power, but because he's driven to better himself, the last thing he ever wants to do is rely on his master to win. And because he's a little cocky, he often gets his shit kicked in before Saitama can get there. Because there are plenty of characters who are legitimately invested in the outcome of each battle, it allows us as viewers to feel invested too. While the show draws strong humor from juxtaposing excellent animation and choreography with the one-sidedness of each Saitama fight, it manages to instill equally strong emotion and excitement when he's not on screen. Which also kind of helps us to get inside his headspace. Every other fight in the series is thrilling, and it's that thrill that Saitama is chasing, but whenever he steps in to fight, while it may be cool and funny, that excitement isn't quite there. A lot of the One Punch Man community expresses a desire to see civilians cheer for Saitama, see him get the recognition he deserves, and I think that's because we want to be able to cheer for him ourselves. All of these narrative strengths are highlighted by the Sea King fight, which stretches out across two glorious, gorgeous episodes. As the fight rages on, we see nearly a dozen heroes beaten down by the monster, including the intimidating S-Class prisoner and the anti-hero Speed of Sound Sonic, who seems to be the only one aside from Genos who could possibly give the king a fair fight. And we feel for each and every one of them as they queue up to get their asses kicked. Not only because we can understand their personal drive to win, but also because behind them, we see hundreds of cowering civilians in need of protection. The situation feels legitimately dire. Things seem to take a turn for the better when Genos shows up. He's able to fight off the Sea King even after a moment's mistake costs him his arm, but ultimately even he is defeated when he tries to protect a little girl. At this moment, it seems like everyone the heroes were trying to save is totally boned. And since Genos is the character we know best, the fact that he's about to die means that we feel the peril just as potently as they do. This is good writing. But the fight takes a turn from good to great when Mumen Rider shows up. Objectively speaking, we know that Mumen Rider has no chance here. Some of the best heroes humanity has to offer have come up against this thing one by one and been obliterated. So a C-rank glorified bike cop probably isn't gonna fare much better. Even Mumen Rider's contact at the Hero Association tells him not to go, and he's certainly aware that he doesn't stand a chance. But even that doesn't stop him from charging in to fight, because Genos is down and out, and that's what a hero does. Mumen Rider's attacks are weak and ineffective against the Sea King, as is to be expected. He gets the living daylights beaten out of him while the crowd looks on, but at least his actions still give the monster pause, and as long as he's busy fighting him, the Sea King isn't killing Genos. Compared to how kinetic the fight with Genos is, the Sea King's attacks on Mumen Rider have a very casual, relaxed air to them. This serves to emphasize the immense difference in their power, and the casual ease with which the king can defeat him. But Mumen Rider isn't defeated. He gets up and gives the Sea King a weak, ineffectual tackle, which only serves to piss the monster off more. This time, when he hits him, he really hits him. The attack is noticeably more kinetic and dynamic. Even more than the punches, the animators worked hard to sell the facial expressions in this scene. The low shot of Mumen Rider struggling to get up a second time is goddamn incredible for how well it conveys the agony that he's feeling and his determination not to let it beat him. The music drops out entirely for Rider's speech, leaving us only with the sound of rain in the background, and the effect is striking. It gives his words about knowing how weak he is and struggling to fight anyway an incredible potency. And when he gets to his feet, the impact of the soft piano underscoring his words is like 1,000 trumpets blaring. This is some truly phenomenal sound design, and I defy you to watch this scene without tearing up. You know, like all the people in the crowd are doing. The Sea King is unfazed, and he cuts one hell of an imposing figure as he gets bulkier and bulkier. But then we hear a little kid cheering for Mumen Rider with all his heart. And then the rest of the crowd joins in too. It's truly inspiring, and for the briefest moment, you really believe that he can take the monster on. It's all an illusion, of course, but it's a powerful illusion. And when it's shattered, the effect on the crowd is devastating. Although at least there's finally a full sense of impact to the punch. In the end, the Sea King did have to put up a bit of a fight against Mumen Rider. But just as all hope seems lost, we get it back. Saitama shows up. Even if you've never seen the show, you can instantly tell from the comedic shift in tone that Saitama has nothing to worry about here. He offers some kind, confident words to Mumen Rider as he catches him, then more or less ignores the Sea King entirely to check on Genos. He doesn't even look at him when he resigns himself to beating the Sea King down. It's apparent from frame 1 that this monster is just as outclassed by Saitama as Mumen Rider was by him. It becomes especially apparent when he throws a massive punch that barely makes Saitama blink. The Sea King continues to taunt Saitama, but at this point it's played for laughs more than anything. It's clear he has no chance. It takes the crowd a second to catch on, though. Seeing some nobody hero facing off against the beast, they're resigned to despair. Even though they've seen him tank the king's punches, they assume it's some kind of mistake. Because Saitama's not the impressive kind of hero who inspires people. And as this scene argues, that's just as important as killing bad guys. Even though from Saitama's perspective, he and the Sea King are on equal footing, when he's shot from the crowd's perspective, we see the Sea King once again from an intimidating low angle. Where they'd built Mumen Rider up in their minds, they are diminishing Saitama. But it doesn't really matter. For all of his blustering about dominating the world and all of his immense size, none of it even phases Saitama, who just lazily asks the Sea King to get on with it. This infuriates him to no end, and he goes in for what looks to be his most devastating punch yet. But in the space between frames, Saitama hammers him, blowing out his guts in one punch. It takes us a second to register what's happened, and in that time we see the punch is hard enough to knock the king's crown off and blow the rain out of the sky. But we and the crowd in the show eventually see the Sea King collapse into a pile of fish guts, and then the crowd goes wild. In this moment, we as an audience finally get what we've been waiting for since the Hero Association was introduced. Yet, true to form, all he can think about is how unsatisfying the fight was. though he's not nearly as unsatisfied as Speed of Sound Sonic, who ran off to change for a proper fight and came back to find it over. We cut to commercial, and here's where things get brilliant from a structural perspective. When we get back, it's a few days later. Genos has been repaired, and while he and Saitama are walking around the abandoned part of town where they live, a crate of fan mail arrives from the Hero Association. This again plays into what we want and creates an immediate expectation for us as an audience. We've just seen Saitama kick some ass in public, so we expect him to get some recognition for it. Just maybe not as much as Genos. But at the same time, something feels a little off. The way that it cuts so quickly before giving the fight its proper emotional resolution irks us as viewers. We know that there has to be more to it, and when Saitama opens his mail, it's that expectation, rather than the cathartic one that we were hoping for, that gets met. We cut back to the scene of the battle, and the cheering is interrupted by this fish-lipped asshole ranting about how the monster must not have been that strong anyway if a C rank could beat him, and how the rest of the heroes are totally useless. He essentially undermines all of the sacrifices made that day, downplaying them as something that anyone could have done, and plants a seed of doubt into the heart of the crowd. Rather than giving Saitama glory, his rapid victory threatens to take away the glory of the other heroes. And in the process, it would devalue the immeasurable good that the heroes represent. Because for all of its power, Saitama's punch is presented in an unceremonious, matter-of-fact fashion. It's over in an instant, and it's awesome, but it doesn't resonate. The thing that really stands out in this scene is Mumen Rider's speech and the reaction of the crowd to that. The hope that he inspires in all of them, from the most jaded asshole to the most innocent child, by refusing to give in against insurmountable odds. This is the one moment that gets the dramatic music treatment. The one moment that makes me well up with tears every time I watch it. The scene posits that it's that ability to inspire people, to protect them from despair as much as physical harm, that makes a true hero. And Saitama seems to agree. He brags that the other heroes soften the monster up for him, even though from his ridiculous healing factor we know that's not the case, and that he's lucky because now he gets to take all the credit for killing it. He sacrifices his own glory and dignity to preserve the heroic myth for the crowd, because while he may be a hero as a hobby, and the increasing boredom with that hobby may be driving him nuts, at heart, Saitama is a true hero as well. And with his sacrifice, the people's faith in the rest of the heroes is restored. It's a satisfying victory, but also a bittersweet one. And again, I think that it helps to immerse us in Saitama's mindset. He can feel proud of himself for doing the right thing, but his life is lacking that catharsis that he craves. Instead, he finds something like it a bit later in the episode in a thoroughly unexpected fashion, when he dips into an Oden stall to grab a bite to eat and runs into a grateful Mumen Rider. The mood here is pleasant and uncomplicated. This moment with a new friend helps us and Saitama feel happy with the end result of the fight. This scene showcases a number of great directorial decisions, but for all of those, it's still the writing that really carries it. Strip away the excellent animation and camera work and the fantastic artwork by Yusuke Murata, and you're still left with the brilliant characterization and plotting of One. It's ultimately the characters and dramatic stakes that make a really great fight scene, and there are few mangaka who are better at writing those than One is. I might have to do a video about that in the future. But remember, I did already do a video about the series OP, which you can check out over there. I just punched it because it's thematic. I'm sure that looks cool on camera and doesn't make me look like a dork at all. Golly, I love talking about One Punch Man, and if you do too, I've got a treat for you. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. PST on September 16th, that's the day I'm posting this video, I'm gonna be participating in a live chat on the One Punch Man Amino board where we can shoot the shit about OPM or anime in general or whatever you guys want to. Wait. God damn it, did I seriously re-record this part of the video twice and say September both times? God damn it, what is wrong with me? This is worse than my pronunciation of Genos. It's October 16th. Anyway, Carry on, Jeff from the past. You can tune into that by searching for One Punch Man Amino on the Google Play or iTunes app stores, or by downloading the parent Amino app and searching for One Punch Man on there. If you're watching this on mobile, I'll provide a link to the chat in the description, or you can find it by looking for the Mother's Basement chat room on One Punch Man Amino. Also, the first 20 people who follow me on the app will get a guaranteed follow back. Maybe more. As you might have surmised, Amino did pay me to make this video, but while getting paid is nice, I wouldn't be promoting this service if it wasn't something I'd actually use. Amino hosts a huge number of communities catering to every hobby and fandom you can think of, from broad stuff like anime to smaller, rad stuff like Gravity Falls. It makes it easy and fun to talk with like-minded fans. My username on there is Mother's Basement if you want to give me a follow. But of course, be sure to subscribe to the Mother's Basement YouTube channel first and foremost, and turn on notifications to make sure you don't miss a single video. Thank you for watching, and thank you especially if you're one of the amazing people who supports me on Patreon. I may shill, but I will always shill for you first in my heart. You guys are the best. Until next time, I'm Jeff Thu, professional shitbag, punching out from my mother's basement.